expectation, mate, on this team as usual?
Yeah, well, we're seeded 1, Danny, so we've got that bit of pressure on us, but rather be seeded 1 than seeded 5. But all we've got to do now is live up to it, and that's not going to be easy.
You're used to it, aren't you? So, man, it shouldn't be a pressure thing going into this.
No, I think the guys are used to that over the last 4 or 5 years. And after, for some time now, the Australian side's been rated the best in the world. However, we don't hold the World Cup at the moment, so we've got some work to do to get that. But the guys handle the pressure reasonably well.
The other teams have picked up their game too over the last couple of years, haven't they? Not just the Kiwis.
Oh yeah. The NRL and has had a lot to do with that, insofar as so many of them are playing here now. Obviously, the Kiwis nearly all play in the NRL with the Warriors and other teams. So, the standard's improved, and I think the standard of the whole World Cup will be the highest ever, given for the same reason over 120 NRL players, let alone the Super League guys, who are playing in the different games, is going to lift the standard tremendously.
Tim, the first game, huge, Millennium Stadium, England on their home soil. Big way to start.
It is, yeah. Although we're opening the tournament for Wales and Italy, and so the Welsh crowd, I'm hoping, will support us, not England. I'm told they will, by Dave Smith, a reliable source.
All the talk has been about Sonny Bill Williams, but you're coming up against the Burgess brothers first up, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I made a comment earlier that I reckon Sam Burgess and the Burgess connection, Graham as well, are a big threat to the tournament. And Sam Burgess, to my way of thinking, at one stage this year was, as everybody has been rating Sonny Bill recently, as Sam was rated the best forward in the game. So I think that just serves to put us on notice anyway. So I'm pleased. You don't want to be winning games and not beating the best side anyway. So the challenge is for us is to beat the best that England and New Zealand can throw up. To do that would be, would make us worthy winners.
So do you think Sam's a better player than Sonny Bill?
Look, I think he has a game that can play front row, second row, edge, and 13. Excuse me, I think. It's got to be an English flyer, is it? Someone catch it.
So is Sam a better player than Sonny Bill?
Look, I think for England he's a very important player. I'm not going to rate one against the other, but when a guy can play front row, second row, edge, and 13, he's quite a player. Yes. Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about the lesser nations being so dangerous with the NRL contingent in there. Do you fear anyone in particular?
At the moment, it's just each opponent as it comes, really. I'm not sure what the teams are going to be. Not the names, but what configuration the teams will, where they'll play, who will play where. For instance, Fiji with Petro, what his team will be, what his halves will be. I think we'll just work through it one game at a time. I think that's the first thing for us. But that just the names alone, that most of the outside the so-called big three, that everyone else is going to be a much stronger force this year than maybe in 08. So, you can't afford to take your eye off the ball and worry about just playing England and New Zealand. You've got to worry about all the other teams as well.
Tim, are you confident you've got the right preparation to help all the players adjust to the conditions and the time and things like that?
Look, you'd dearly love to have a month to prepare them, but that's not the case. You can't do that. But everyone's in the same boat. The competition, Super League and ours finishes late, so you really, you get a week or so to get them ready. But that's why we're going 2 weeks earlier to adjust to the conditions after the conditions here in Australia are so hot. We really need to adapt to the cold, adapt to the conditions, settle them down, get over the travel and so on. So we're doing everything we can to prepare well, and I think we will be prepared well.
Tim, the elephant in the room is the USADA investigation. How are you preparing for that, or what's your word from the powers that be?
Oh, look, Danny, my attitude, I'm coaching the side. I'm not going to worry about what might or might not happen there. You get used to when you're coaching and or playing the game that you just deal with what's in front of you. And at the moment, I've picked 24 players. We're going away today. If anything changes that overseas, then as I say, we'll have to deal with it at the time.
Will you keep Greg Inglis on in Cotton Wool, given the knee injury he's taking with it?
Look, a lot of players, not only for us, but I'd imagine in every nation, will have some sort of issue with injuries carried in a long season. So we'll have to manage all the players differently, there's no doubt. In saying that though, how many games they play, I doubt very many players will play 6 games, but it's just how we manage that, because again, as I said earlier, you can't afford to think you can rest key guys and then find yourself losing a game you shouldn't lose. So, but I'd like to manage certain guys for less than the 6 games, obviously.
Tim, how does this Kangaroos side rate many you've seen? I mean, considering you've got 5 Churchill medalists and great halfback.
Yeah, that's a good point. Time will tell. I mean, they've been. We hold the Four Nations tournament. We've won it, lost it, and won it again. So that's just reminds us that we're not, as a group, we're not infallible. However, winning the World Cup will be the ultimate challenge, and this team will be rated up against other teams by way of their results, the same way we always are. But on paper, I would think it's a very strong, well-balanced side. We're very strong out wide in particular. 3 quality halves that I don't think anyone else could match. So we, hopefully no injuries. But if we do have an issue with an injury, we've got a real good support player in that area. I think we're strong and experienced in the forwards, and there's an element of youth as well. So, but as I say, time will tell.
Tim, everyone in the squad, they've achieved so much at Origin level for their clubs and also representing Australia. How much of a motivation is the World Cup? It's the last frontier for many of these guys.
Well, I think the fact that a lot of guys who have carried a bit of injury during the year have put their hand up to play. Normally, it's been my experience over the last few years that if there's not if they don't think, a one-off test in particular, a lot of guys have just opted for surgery and not play in it. I think the fact that so many guys want to play, and it's only been serious injury that have stopped some guys playing, that we've seen, so that shows the interest, I think. And I think there's a number of guys, I think there's 5 or 6 of them still that played in 08, and I think those players in particular are very, very keen to get another shot at it. But again, worrying about the final, what we've got to do is worry about getting through the pool game first. Mother England, the Alpha, we've played them in the final both times in 09 and 11, not New Zealand, which was expected. So, England at home are a formidable team.
Is there any danger of this side being a bit overawed, do you think, or will they be able to sort of handle the pressure?
I don't think overawed will be the problem. The thing that Australia have to be careful about is that to remember that you've got to do the hard work to win a game. It's not just going to happen because of the guys around you, and the names on paper mean nothing. Again, we go back to New Zealand and have beaten Australia in 08, in 2010, I think back in 2005 as well. So they've got in the big tournament games, they can beat you in a final. So, we've got to make sure that we stay focused on the job at hand and make sure that everyone does the hard work, not just thinking that a Greg Inglis or a Billy Slater or someone like that will win us the game.
So you're saying complacency?
Well, it's a big word, but I don't think Australia will be complacent, but just off the pace a touch can be enough in these games. You're playing a national side in England and national side for Fiji. Everyone's got that pride of wearing that jumper. So you need to pay respect to every team you play, whether you're marked in front of it or not. And since we're marked at #1 team in the comp, you've got to pay the respect by preparing well. And I don't care who you're playing. They're a national team in these competitions. They'll have a pride to play in that jumper, and we need to match that by having that pride in our own and making sure that we prepare so well that we're not going to give anyone that opportunity to beat us on a day because we're off our game.
Is there anyone you're particularly excited to be coaching?
I'm sorry?
Anyone you're particularly excited to be coaching?
In this group?
Yeah.
Look, I said when I took this job on, Danny, that I was proud to be coaching the Australian side, and no matter who's playing in that jumper, no one's ever, in 5 years, I haven't had anyone play poorly. They've all risen to the occasion and played well for their nation, and although we've had 1 or 2 hiccups in that time, generally the side has been a dominant side and played really well and stuck together too. We've had no issues in the group. Travel well, particularly overseas to England. We've had 2 great successes there. So, I'm looking forward to going again.
Tim, are you pretty much settled on a team in your mind?
Yeah, I would say we have 90-95% of probably our first team against England's pretty much picked, but there are still a couple of minor issues. A couple of guys are a little underdone, a couple of minor injuries that we're managing, and so that may affect the selection of the first game. But overall, I'm pretty close to the selectors, and I've discussed it before we've left when we picked the squad, and so we're pretty close to picking that first squad.
Training session yesterday, Andrew Fafita missed it. He had something else on apparently. He slipped back in after his wedding, all right?
Yes, yeah, he's under the thumb now. He's married like like most of us. So no, he was when I say unfortunate, not unfortunate from the point of view of getting married, but obviously I would have liked to have had him there yesterday. But he trained hard today. He was here in at 7 this morning and put in a 50-minute session on his own. So he's shown that he's keen to go. And although his new bride shed a few tears in the car outside, she's sent him off with her blessing, I believe.
Any instructions for you? Did she give you any instructions?
No, I
Tell
didn't.
you how to look after it?
No. I didn't see her, but from that point of view, they're big enough to look after themselves.